Yet now, some are returning to fight and die in a homeland they can barely remember. This is the story of young Somalis who have forsaken the American dream in pursuit of a jihadist ideology. What's turned them to this path? What's been the impact on their families back here in the US? And what can the American authorities do about it?
The Raghi Omar Report, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Rahul's here with the sport. Now, you're probably too young to remember the British Prime Minister coming back when the country was about to go bankrupt saying, crisis, what crisis?
Oh, yeah, Jim Callaghan, 79. I don't remember. I did politics A-level.
Yeah, no, so Bernie Ecclestone, while Bahrain's going down
in flames
like this, is saying...
Yeah, he was cautiously optimistic. He said if the situation if it carried on improving, in his words, he expected the Grand Prix on March the 13th to go ahead. But while he was giving that interview, you were talking to a doctor in the Bahraini capital talking about complete chaos. So maybe he's going to be rethinking those comments now.
But he has said he'll make a decision within the next few days. Is it by
next Wednesday?
By next Wednesday?
Yeah, if he says the situation hasn't improved, this is what he was saying yesterday.
That's not the Wednesday coming, is it the one after, or within 2 or 3 days?
A few days' time, yeah. And, yeah, he's going to make a decision then with all the teams of whether or not they can go ahead. But, I mean, you know, they're advising people not to travel. It's looking very unlikely this race can go ahead. As I say, the continuing violence in Bahrain has raised concerns that that Grand Prix will be held. It's looking increasingly likely now that it will be called off. The F1 Supremo, Bernie Ecclestone, was quoted on Friday saying he was hopeful it could go ahead, but that's on Wednesday. But if the situation doesn't quieten down by Wednesday, the race probably will be cancelled. Meanwhile, on the track, the teams are currently in Barcelona. World champion Sebastian Vettel setting the pace on the first day of testing there. Now, we may have had the opening ceremony, but we're still awaiting the first match at the Cricket World Cup. Bangladesh will host India in front of their supporters on Saturday. And while their home fans can't wait for the action to start, the future of the game they're watching remains uncertain. Andy Richardson reports.
Bangladesh cricket supporters seem to be enjoying their first World Cup experience. The event's rambling three-country format has been criticised, but it's given these fans and their team a co-hosting chance they might otherwise not have had. Bangladesh have the advantage of playing all their group matches at home, starting with Saturday's opener against India.
I think all the teammates will be very happy to know that the crowd behind us, and that they will be, the whole crowd will be cheering for us. So I think it's a very good sign for our cricket.
The bigger picture surrounding the preparations for this opening game is the future of the 50-over game itself. This is the first World Cup since the emergence of 2020 and the seemingly all-powerful Indian Premier League. The success or otherwise of this competition will give us all a much clearer idea as to whether 3 different versions of the game really can coexist.
It is certainly the flagship of 50-over cricket. With the backdrop that you point around 2020 cricket, it just gives it that more importance in that we want to ensure that all 3 formats survive.
But while the next World T20 event will be expanded, the ICC have said the 2015 World Cup could well feature just 10 countries. The players, though, aren't ready to deliver the 50-over game's last rites just yet.
I think it's an ideal mix of, both Test cricket and T20 format. And what has happened right now is, it's getting more and more interesting with most of the teams, looking to score close to 300 odd runs, which more often than not nowadays is not considered a very safe score.
This event then not quite on its last legs, but definitely in need of the sort of kick-start this opening match could provide. Andy Richardson, Al Jazeera, Dhaka.
Well, here's a flavour of the kind of atmosphere we can expect in Bangladesh, at least. This was a warm-up game between England and Pakistan. Despite that, still a fantastic crowd at the Khan Shahib Osman Ali Stadium in Fatullah. England batted first and were all out for 273 in their innings. In reply, Yunus Khan hit 80 for Pakistan, but they never really got close as they were bowled out for 206. England win by 67 runs. Well, you caught him briefly in that story. Pakistan's Shoaib Akhtar has already got himself into trouble. The tournament has yet to start. He's been fined for breaking a team curfew in Dhaka. The 36-year-old, no stranger to controversy, of course, thrown out of the 2006 Champions Trophy for failing a dope test. While in 2007, he was sent home from the World 2020 in South Africa after attacking a teammate with a cricket bat. Tennis, and Caroline Wozniacki's regained her world #1 ranking after reaching the semi-finals of the Dubai Tennis Championships. Well, this is the Dane on Thursday. She regains top spot after briefly losing it to the Australian Open champion Kim Clijsters last week. She'll now face Jelena Jankovic in the last 4. Football, and Ryan Giggs has signed an extension to his current contract with Manchester United. The new deal runs until the end of next season. The 37-year-old is the most decorated player in English football history, having won 11 league titles, 4 FA Cups and 2 Champions League titles. That's your sport. David.
Thank you very much indeed, Rahul. We're going to have continuing coverage of events in Bahrain, indeed other Middle Eastern and North African countries, but particularly Bahrain at the top of the hour. There is confusion at the main public hospital in the capital, Manama. As many as 100 people are reported to have been shot and wounded during confrontation with soldiers on the streets of the capital. More when we return.
Over the north of Beijing, as the visibility drops, you'll still see things with perfect clarity.
Hello there. In the western parts of the states, it's still very, very wet at the moment. On the satellite picture, you can see this whole chain of cloud working its way towards the northeast. Torrential downpours, particularly in the southern parts of California, where the ground is baked dry. That means here there could be some mudslides and landslides in the next couple of days, as this rain is set to stick around. Meanwhile, further east, it's been very, very warm over the past few days, but now the temperatures are easing once more. So New York this time, no higher than 6 degrees and quite a biting wind to make sure it feels colder than that. And Washington, D.C., quite a decent 13 degrees as a maximum, but even that's down on the temperatures we've seen recently. Now, a bit further south, and for many of us here, it's fine and settled. But there are some showers here being blown onto the shore. These from Honduras and then all the way down through parts of Panama. And there will also be 1 or 2 rather hefty showers there for Colombia as well. But I think the northern parts of Colombia should get away with a dry day. As we head across towards Europe, it's in the Mediterranean where we've got some of the stormiest conditions currently. This huge area of low pressure is still developing as it runs its way eastwards towards Turkey. And it will be the western parts of Turkey and the western parts of Greece where we see some of the worst conditions out of this. Meanwhile, further west, we've got another system piling in here, so heavy rain through the UK and all the way down towards Spain and Portugal.
Qatar Airways, world's 5-star airline.
On Counting the Cost, food. Why does it cost so much and how many more millions are being priced out of the basics? We'll hear directly from the World Bank for its take on an ongoing crisis. Plus big business, as Nokia and Microsoft join forces, we assess the tech market. Counting the Cost at this time on Al Jazeera.
As geeks take on dictators, bloggers turn dissidents, and social networks root for social justice.